Okay, well, good morning and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, grandmothers, and probably even some great-grandmothers out there. I was asked to be on the nominating committee along with Nicole Relo and Deb Huffman, and we would like to thank all of you who are so open and willing to serve on the committee. You made our job very easy, and we really appreciate that. We have more magnets, invites, and pens, and Lori Spitz will have those, or we'll have them sitting on the table, because we'd really like you to get those out to people that you think might be interested in joining our church. Before I get on to the nominees, I'd like to thank our vision leaders. I think they deserve some recognition for all the countless hours and time away from their families to get this far in our quest for first grace. It's because of them we have reached this point to install our new committees today, and it'll help us to keep moving forward to bigger and better things to come. The vision leaders were Brianna Williamson, Amber Olson, Hawken Rosendahl, and Jane Olson. Let's give them a big round of applause. Amber's married now. It's Amber Hansen. Sorry.
Don't forget Joan.
Oh, and Joan Kirk. Okay, I wondered if I might have forgotten some. You too, Joan. Okay, do you want me to take the committee one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. So officers that were nominated, and you have the opportunity to write in a name if you so please. Yes. President is Ken Kirk. Secretary, Jane Olson. President-elect, Hawken Rosendahl. Treasurer, Vicki Moxted. The Resource Committee is Trevor Olson, Bev Schuler, Mark Walk, Brianna Williamson, Glenn Barker, and John Peterson. Faith Formation, Carrie Barker, Sheila Olson, Darcy Betts, Kathy Stauffer, and Beth Pearson. Property is Bill Spitz, Mike Relo, Paul Danzo, Becky Wagner, and Brad Halsley. Call Committee, Donna Brieswitz, Brody Mitchell, Jeff Huftelin, Tracy Relo, Julie Anhorn, Nancy Danzo, and Melanie Brieswitz.
It's actually Madeline.
Oh, it's Madeline. Well,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Do you have a Melanie?
I do.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's Maddie.
It is Maddie.
Melanie could be on it too. If
Well,
wants.
she could, but I'm not sure she would agree.
Okay. The Discipleship Committee is Lori Spitz, Jill Balsley, Deb Huftelin, Tracy Relo, and Jody New. Auditing is Doug Lang, Crystal Adams, and Michelle Johnson. Nominating is Ted Moxted, Becky Herrick, and Lucas Brandt.
Jane, we had Nicole Wiggern as part of the call committee too. Did she step away or?
Don't know. Is Deb Huftelin here?
Yeah, I'm here, I don't remember her name being on our paper, so, if she, we can add her, if she's been coming to your meetings.
She's been to one.
But some of the committees did change. Like the property committee got really
Yep.
whittled down. So that's.
I mean, I have
that
not-
could have changed, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has talked to her, like, that she asked to be removed or. Okay.
But we can ask her.
I don't know how many people have a pencil, but we should change on your ballot Madeline instead of Melanie Brieswitz. So we're voting for the correct people. Just so everybody knows. Should we add Nicole or can we? At this point, can we add her?
And was there an education committee, or that is not something that we're,
No,
and just,
so that there's lots of subcommittees, and
helped with Bible camp, helped with Bible school, did a lot of that, but we kind of realized that Julie was the one making the decisions, and she didn't necessarily need to vote on those decisions. She just needed support with Sunday school, support with all those things. So instead, we created that faith formation, which is supposed to help with the education of our entire congregation. So adult Bible studies, you know, what we're doing out in the community to help educate others in Christ and things like that. And they'll be the ones voting, and Julie will take things to them that the education committee has, what they're doing, what's going on, but they're not necessarily going to be voting on.
There are other subcommittees, like there's a funeral subcommittee. But in our bylaws, we do not have to vote for subcommittees. These are the committees that we have to vote on. It doesn't mean that they aren't actively working and we have them listed, we just don't have to vote for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane, since we're talking about committee, I'm not familiar with the resource committee, what are their
The
responsibilities?
resource committee is actually like the financial committee in our Saviors. So does that help? We, in the bylaws, if you still have your copy, it lists what each of those committees do and are kind of responsible for. So you can refer back to them and then, because we do have, there's different names that we have come up with. So you can refer to your bylaws and it does have some of the listings of their duties. Okay, I do want to thank the call committee, Deb, and Nicole, and Jess, and Jill for all their work. They did it very quickly. Pardon? Nominating committee is what I'm saying. They did it very quickly. It was a lot of people to contact to make sure that people were okay still being on the committee. So, tellers. And ballots have been distributed, right? All right. So you can take a ballot if you were a voting member of First Grace Church. According to the bylaws, a voting member is a confirmed member. Confirmed members are baptized members who have been confirmed in this congregation, those who have been received by adult baptism or by transfer as confirmed members from other Lutheran congregations, or baptized persons referred by affirmation of faith. If you requested membership by filling out one of the small cards or by requesting transfer from our Xavers, you are a voting member. Does every voting member have a ballot? As I read each nominee, I will ask if there are any other nominations from the floor. If you want to nominate someone for a position, that person has to have been contacted and has to have agreed to take on that position before you can nominate them. So first position is Kent Kirk. He has been nominated for the office of president. Are there any further nominations for the office of president? Nominations for the office of president are now closed. Haakon Rosendahl has been nominated for the office of president-elect. Are there further nominations for the office of president-elect? Nominations for the office of president-elect are now closed. Jane Olson has been nominated for the office of secretary. Are there further nominations for the office of secretary? Nominations for the office of secretary are now closed. Vicki Moxted has been nominated for the office of treasurer. Are there further nominations for the office of treasurer? Nominations for the office of treasurer are now closed. Members nominated for the service on the Resource Committee for a 2-year term are Trevor Olson, Bev Schuler, and Brianna Williamson. And for a 1-year term are Mark Walk, Glenn Barker, and John Peterson. Are there further nominations for the Resource Committee? Nominations for members on the Resource Committee are now closed. Members nominated for service on the Property Committee for a 2-year term are Bill Spitz, Mike Relo, and Becky Wagner. And for a 1-term are Paul Danzo and Brad Alfley. Are there further nominations for the members on the Property Committee? Nominations for members on the Property Committee are now closed. Members nominated for the service on the Faith Formation Committee for a 2-year term are Carrie Barker and Sheila Olson. And for a 1-year term are Darcy Betts, Kathy Stoffer, and Beth Pearson. Are there further nominations for the Faith Formation Committee? Nominations for members on the Faith Formation Committee are now closed. Members nominated for service on the Discipleship Committee for a 2-year term are Lori Spitz and Deb Hufflin, and for a 1-year term are Jill Bosley, Tracy Regal, and Jody Hendricks. Are there further nominations for members on the Discipleship Committee? Nominations for the members on the Discipleship Committee are now closed. The Call Committee, Auditing Committee, and Nominating Committee are advisory committees. Members nominated for service on the Call Committee are Donna Reeswitz, Rhodey Mitchell, Jeff Ufflin, Tracy Regal, Julie Anhorn, Nancy Daniel, and Melody Reeswitz.
Madeline.
Gosh, she's had 3 names already. Are there further nominations for members on the Call Committee? Nominations for members on the Call Committee are now closed. Members nominated for service on the Auditing Committee are Doug Lane, Crystal Adams, Meitner, and Michelle Johnson. Are there further nominations for members on the Auditing Committee? Nominations for members on the Auditing Committee are now closed. Members nominated for service on the Nominating Committee are Ted Moxted, Becky Herrick, and Lucas Brando. Are there further nominations for members on the Nominating Committee? Nominations for members on the Nominating Committee are now closed. There being no further nominations from the floor for officers and committee members called in sequence, and if there is no objection, the ballot will be dispensed, and a voice vote for the entire ballot will be taken. There being no objection, the ballot will be dispensed and a voice vote taken. Those in favor of the ticket as presented by the nominating committee say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Will the newly elected officers and committee members please stand? Congratulations. Thank you for accepting the nomination, and best wishes to you. This concludes the inaugural meeting of First Grace Lutheran Church. The meeting is now adjourned. Now, we do have several people to come and talk.
Oh. All yours. Am I supposed to have filled it out? Oh. Sorry.
As many of you know, our decision to move forward with the First Lutheran in St. Ansgar has turned into kind of a 3-part agreement. So we have the part that is an agreement with Pastor Staley's church, which his congregation approved, and I think you've all seen them. All these 3 parts. That we would like to go ahead and move forward with the agreement with Pastor Staley's church today. There's another part that would be an agreement with Pastor Staley himself and his pay and compensation with our church, and then there would be a third part, which would be Julie's part, which would be an agreement between our church and Julie for the financial piece, and then an employment agreement with the council that they're officially in place. So we just thought we'd take this time to have more discussion about that to start off with. I think we had plenty of conversation about the agreement with Pastor Staley's church, but we'll start there. So if anybody has questions about the agreement with Pastor Staley's church itself, remember it was a $20,000 agreement, and was there any questions on that? Go ahead, Lori.
So I just want to make it clear, so I pass away, my family wants my funeral at First Lutheran.
Yep.
Do I have to pay them up and above what we're paying them now?
No.
Or is it just like my family wants to give them $500 for the use of the church?
Correct. They have agreed to let us use their facilities for funerals and weddings at no cost to First Grace.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And then we also have the option of using the UCC church, but that would be for a fee. You would have to pay their church and their janitor, so it's $200 to rent their church, $50 for a janitor, and then if you'd like technology at your service of some sort, that would be another $50, and then you'd be responsible also to pay Pastor Staley for his time and mileage, whatever you agreed with him, you know. And I know he is negotiable on that, so.
And we'll get that all written down for the disciple team, so if somebody calls and wants to have a funeral there, they know exactly what's gonna happen to them up front as far as costs.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep, great question. Jill?
And what was his answer about if we need to get a sub when he can't be here?
Perfect, so that's kind of moving into the Pastor Staley part of the agreement, which I will gladly go over here. So what we kind of decided it's called a contract call. And we did discuss what happens when he's gone. So as part of his contract up in St. Ansgar, he gets 4 Sundays off a year plus 2 Sundays off for continuing education. So it's 6 weeks per se. We discussed for the year for the $20,000 that he was offering us for his year. We decided 4 Sundays off for whatever reason he might like. We didn't specify whether it was paid time off or continuing education. And if he needed more beyond that, he would have to come to us, have discussion about why. For instance, like if there was some sort of conference or something. And then we would make a decision on who paid for it. But if he was just generally gone and wanted to take more than that, he would cover the cost of covering the service. So we can expect in a year for him, at most, to miss 4 Sundays. Does that help, Jill?
Yes, thank you.
So 1 1/4. We do know during Lent next year, Pastor Staley will also do what he did this year. He plans on teaching his first communion class. So we will have to have help with however we do Lent this coming year. We're not sure if we would ask Pastor Staley to come or if we would do something like we did this year. Obviously, we're not that far yet, but we can anticipate him not being able to be present at all Lenten services.
Yeah, and Pastor Staley did say that because we have more lead time and plan time, he'll be able to help get that covered better than what happened this year.
Correct.
So we don't end up like trying to do that.
Although I think this year was great.
There was one.
Yeah. He just said I have more time to plan and like get a backup and stuff. So yeah.
More questions about Pastor Staley's agreement?
So that on those Sundays, then we pay, our church pays, or does he pay somebody?
The 4 Sundays, we would pay.
For Lent.
On the 4 Sundays, he would pay.
So the Lent ones he pays?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and I don't know if we actually discussed if those were considered Sundays, because those would be Wednesday services.
No, on Sundays.
Oh, yeah, Sundays, yes.
Yeah, during Lent, if he's staying and teaching Sunday, or his conference, or First Communion people.
Oh, yeah, that was on Sundays.
Yeah.
He knows Wednesdays, but it's not, you're right. Yes, so we will pay 4 Sundays for the year for him to be gone, and beyond that, he would pay. And he says he rarely takes all 6 at First Lutheran, but obviously, I don't know how that would work here, but he says he hardly ever does, and I believe him because his wife said it too. So, let's see here. His duties, like we discussed, would be Sundays. It would be, he's asking about shut-ins and visitation and hospital visits. Those would be all included. We would not pay his mileage for Sundays when he comes, but if he's doing visits, then we would pay his mileage. And that is just part of a normal call. When they're doing, special visits, we pay mileage.
He is asking if anybody knows of any nursing home patients or homebound that he needs to visit. You need to communicate that, so that he knows. He'd be glad to go do that visitation, but I don't know of anybody in the nursing home at this point that we have.
So what will happen is when the council meets, they'll approve this contract call and then we'll bring it back to you guys again for another vote. And we would like to see that getting started early, beginning of June. So we're going to have to have another meeting here, but we're going to let the council meet and look it over first and approve it, and then we'll move forward. So the third piece would be Julie's employment agreement, and we had a meeting on the 7th to discuss that. We kind of took her roles and responsibilities that she had at Our Saviors, and as many of you know, she was working a lot of hours at Our Saviors. She was there just about every night and every Saturday, most Sundays. Julie definitely wants to have a more relaxed role now. She's getting to the point she wants to enjoy her grandbabies. So, I'll talk about it. So she's getting to the point she wants to enjoy her grandbabies. At Our Saviors, she was making like $33,000 a year, and her $6,000 of that was a stipend for benefits, and she was expected to work, 30 to 35 hours a week plus. We decided that it may be best for us to work on at least half of that, for time and effort and stuff, and have no scheduled office hours. We were going to have a contract based on her duties and getting those duties done, which we discussed were the things such as Bible camp, Bible school, youth gatherings, mission trips, walk-ins, help with Lenten meals, help with crop walk, help with graduation, those kind of things, but no scheduled hours at the Senior Citizen Center per se. And Julie has graciously agreed to move forward at $15,000 this year, which we would be able to review and look at her time and hours and things she's doing, midway through the year. But the council will be looking at the agreement for duties, and then the financial piece will be brought back to the congregation to approve. So right now we're at $15,000 a year. Julie, any more comments or questions on that? Did I do okay? I know there's been people asking. So we have $20,000 committed to Pastor Staley's church, $20,000 committed to Pastor Staley, and $15,000 committed to Julie for the year, if we get through all three pieces.
Is she doing any shared duties with First Lutheran?
Yes, so that was in the agreement that she would help, encourage them to come to our Bible school, make sure that they get our Bible camp sign-ups. We would encourage our students to go to their Bible school, and they're just going to reach out if there's anything they feel like we should be working together with, but there was nothing like, she has to do this, Specifically, it's more of a way to just create teamwork and to make sure our kids are invited to their things and their kids are invited to our things. Jill, I remember you asked me a question, I think it was a couple at the last meeting. We did talk about confirmation. I know that has been a concern for some parents and just people in general. How does it work in the NALC? Is Julie qualified to teach confirmation? As we know at Our Saviors, it kind of changed a bunch, but at one point Julie was teaching one year, the pastor was teaching the second year, and then they had a little bit of a third year with the senior pastor, so kind of went like that. I went to Julie, Pastor Ryan, and then Pastor Cindy for a little bit. We did check with Pastor Staley, and what he does is he does his confirmation studies on 4 things. And this curriculum is approved through the NALC and is published by their publishing system, Sola, right? Somebody Sola Publishing, and it's 4 things they teach, and they teach 2 things one year and 2 things the other year, and they just rotate them through. So the 7th and 8th grade classes are not separate classes. All 7th and 8th grade just get 2 years, and it goes consecutively, so they're together. So one year he teaches this, then these 2 things, the next year he teaches the other 2 things. And it seems to help eliminate time and having 2 different groups meet. You just all meet together and it rotates through, and everybody gets through the full curriculum. He has agreed to help advise Julia how to, teach the curriculum best and what he does and how that works, and be more involved in our process, not just be absent from it. So
You agreed to also do face-to-face with the compliments.
yes.
Not, I don't know how many weeks, but I think we talked about 4 or 5 different sessions.
Especially at the end, just to make sure that they're where they need to be. We talked about maybe doing, as probably a lot of you did, where you write your statement of faith. We discussed maybe still doing that with the kids at the end, where they would do that with an actual pastor. But he said there is many churches they just have a lay person teach confirmation. Obviously, they wouldn't teach their own curriculum, it has to be approved curriculum. Other questions on that? We discussed when Julie's on a trip, we've got a trip coming up, of course, the congregation would pay for, the registration fees, the travel, and the expenses incurred that are directly related to the trip. Gosh, I thought there'd be more discussion, you guys are all quiet. Pocket, anything to add to those things? Joan, anything to add?
Just the overall flow again is that the council will now review those 2 agreements, the Julie agreement and the Pastor Staley, and then the council will vote on it, and then the church, the congregation will vote on it. So that's kind of the steps to get it all approved and stuff,
So also what we would like is for all the newly installed committees to meet before council, if at all possible. We have keys to the Senior Citizen Center, 1 key for each committee to have, and Hawken has those, I believe, right, Hawken? And so you're encouraged to meet there if you can, and
You have to elect leaders.
let the officers know when you're meeting so that they can attend if they're able. Go ahead, Joe.
So, as far as the committees have been formed, but a decision on the leader to that committee has not been decided.
Yeah.
So, once they vote on a chair of that committee, then Hawken will give them the key, or is he just gonna give somebody on that?
Well, I think right now, maybe you would just give it to someone so you can get your first meeting in, and then once you decide on the chair, the person who's coming to council, it would be great to just have that, we'll put their name on the key, I don't care who holds it. But that person will be the responsible one. And then that person is the person who would be coming to council then.
And when do the council meetings start?
Well, I think Ken was gonna announce it, but I'll just go ahead since you're asking. The council is going to meet on the 20th at 5:30 on the 20th.
Of May?
Of May, yes, we gotta get this rolling, right? We're pushing. So it would be nice if the committees could be sometime between today and May 20th. And even if it's just earlier that day on May 20th, probably isn't too much, but, and since you don't have an official person in charge of the committees, someone will have to just start a communication thread of some sort, text, email, and get some things rolling if that works.
The committees are to notify Ken who the leader is, and then those leaders would be expected to attend the May 20th council meeting if possible. Is that correct?
Yes, May 20th council meeting at 5:30 for the chairman that is appointed within the committee.
And we have it in the bylaws, if the chairman can't make it, they can appoint their person to go to
A
represent.
designate for themselves. If for some reason the chairman can't come to the council meetings, or the chairman gets elected and has to miss because they already have something on the 20th, they can appoint anyone they want, and that person is able to vote for them. And the things that will be coming up on the agenda are pretty important, so, you know, keep that in mind. We're done like early. Does that mean we get fellowship time before church?
Do you have a list of like phone numbers to
Yeah.
contact?
That's a great question too. We have a membership list that has emails and phone numbers.
I can put one together with all the people who are voted on today.
That might be a great idea. Emily can share that.
Yep.
Okay. To-do list, Amber. Okay.
Do you want to talk about where we're at with the senior centers, converting over there?
So today after church, graciously, Jay has offered to bring his gas lift in it. Where are you, Jay? Oh, you're back there. So he's gonna help us we're gonna take everything we can today after service over to the Senior Citizen Center. There's been some cleaning. We're still working on a few things as far as the floor cleaner. And we'll get it all over there, working on getting things set up and figuring out, I think we had 125 chairs there now, and kind of tentatively set up to see how it fits. And we've got a new sound system thanks to Hawking. The plan is next week to have service there at 10:30. So don't forget about the time change, 10:30, not 10:45. Go ahead, yes.
Can we start referring to it as first grace instead of the senior?
Yes. I know that Hawking, I think, got us a sign.
Amber's working with Adams Graphics in Statesville to get like an actual sign that goes out front.
Oh, good. I was hoping so.
It says senior center currently, but it will say first grace Lutheran.
Yeah.
Pastor Staley has said different times to me when he comes, it's so great that the parking is full around, and he has to park a ways away by the time he gets here.
Sure.
If we could leave one spot up by the front door for him.
That's a great idea.
We're putting priority on that. I don't know that yet, but I was gonna tell them today.
So I think Mills has agreed, once we get a little liability sheet done, to let us park in that little parking area right next to First Grace. And we do have to maintain the lawn and the sidewalks, which I think Bill Spitz has already been working on that. And so we can use that parking area. Maybe we'll just get him a spot right in there.
You could label it.
Pastors.
Can they take a couple of those handicaps away now?
Well, I saw two of them, they put a white X through.
Oh,
so-
did they?
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does seem like there's handicap on each side. You're gonna notice that each side is completely handicapped, but I wonder if it's for the other church too, or what, I don't know.
I
It just
tried,
seems like there's a lot.
yeah, I tried calling the city, but they didn't answer. But yeah, they put big spray painted white X's through them, so I don't know if they're behind them. But we also don't want to get rid of, you know, we got the
But the other thing too is I just think we really need to make a point to tell people that to walk a half a block.
Yeah, absolutely.
And walk a half.
The first shall be last and the last shall be.
Yeah.
And
That whole trust parking lot.
Yeah,
is
the whole
right
trust
there.
is right there.
That's a good spot to park.
Yeah, and even the one in the back behind it.
Yeah, it's half a
There is a back door to First Grace, if you have it, didn't know, Southern has a back door, so we can get that unlocked too. So if you're coming from Home Trust, it's on that side, in the back towards that kitchen area that we can make sure it's unlocked, so in case you park back that way.
Is the
Courthouse
kitchen,
has nice parking there too.
Oh yeah.
They won't be
Courthouse.
open on Sundays, you know, it's a block, but it's.
is the kitchen functioning?
So the kitchen is not currently functioning, and there is quite a few, just so everyone's prepared when they're there today, if you go to help move anything. There is quite a few things in there that are sold, and if you move down, there's a stack of about, I don't know, tables this high that are bought and sold. There's a little set of tables and chairs that are off to the side, those are bought and sold. There's a stove in there, and
But didn't they sell the stove, so we will be without a stove?
right, that's sold, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
A gas
The stove is sold. There's another,
That's what's hooked up as a gas stove.
a gas stove.
Yes, gas.
So there is no fridge, there's a sink, and there's countertops, and it's really nice. So, there is the potential of us being able to put a fridge in go back in if we felt like we were gonna use it. I know in the past we've used a lot of roasters when we've done meals, so not so much stove, but if we feel the need to. We have some exciting news also. We have Bible camp nailed down. We are going to do Bible camp July 8th, 9th, and 10th. So we have sign-up sheets here today. We're going to get some out for mail, and we will get those online and get excited about doing camp. Questions?
Are there any other things that we need that maybe people might donate that you can think of?
Yes, so the property committee is going to make a list, but right now, the biggest thing is kind of just getting it in there, maybe using it once or twice and figuring out. We've got all the cleaning stuff ordered and some of it there, and I think we had a couple volunteers for vacuums, because there is carpet in the front room.
Does anyone know the floors really could use, is that like that VC tile or whatever that's called? It could really use a polishing. I know Ed and Bev Beamer used to have that service, and I contacted Kathy and to see if they still had the machine and we could maybe use it, but they don't have it. Does anyone know of anyone that does that?
Bob Kiesel, I think, used to do it for the senior center.
Oh, really? Because I think the floor could really use a good polishing.
He's my neighbor. Does Mark Worthy have one that they rent out maybe? They have a pile.
They do.
Not sure about that.
School has. Another thing that I've noticed, we refer to our saviors a lot. I think it's time for us to leave our saviors behind us and move forward as first grace and form everything as first grace and not as our saviors used to do this.
Yeah, we really tried to change things. I know it's creating a lot of questions, but like, especially our bylaws are totally different. You know, even with our committees, you'll see like, not only did we name them different, but they definitely have different functions, like the education committee. Several of us have been on that, and we felt like, gee, like really Julie's the one making all the decisions, you know, she's really just needs support. Because Julie, not because like, you're good at it.
Otherwise, maybe it shouldn't be.
No. We feel confident that that's the right thing, and that's why we changed it to faith formation, because it would be nice to focus on adult Bible studies and ways to, you know, mix the faith formation with kids and adults, you know, finding different avenues for that. And we trust Julie to make those decisions. Obviously, she needs support, and that's why we did a subcommittee, but trying to change and transfer away from some of the things that weren't functioning and create some new might be some. We just discussed we might already have to amend some bylaws in the next year or so, because we see some things that we're like, but for the most part, I think you're right, Nancy, that we can move forward going a different way, and it might be a little bit of trial and error, but it should be fun and exciting to do that. So.
You mentioned about Bible camp being, getting that out online. Can that be can it be put out so that we can share it beyond the Facebook group?
Yeah, we might have to have like, if anybody's noticed, our Facebook group is a private group, so if you share something that's in our Facebook group, it doesn't show to the public. It's really annoying, but that's the way we set it up. And we didn't realize it would become what it's become. So now we either have to create a new group or new page, not a group, because we're a group right now. Or we need to figure out different ways of sharing. So I think like if Julie shares it or I share it personally, and then our page shares it, then it is open. Is that how that works? If you personally share it, Amber, is that how it works?
You have to, personally post it, and then people can share it if you make that one.
I think you have to like screenshot it.
Or a screenshot of it will work.
I do know that there's a lot of families that aren't first grades that would want to go.
Yeah, so I think we're going to do a mailer too of just kids who have attended in the past, or families who've sent kids in the past, and just start with that as a baseline to help too.
Well, that's part of discipleship and reaching out into the community is inviting those people on your own. So if your kids have friends who have come before, you should reach out and invite them. And if you know others who might like to come, reach out and invite them. So that's part of all of our jobs.
We will get all the dates on Facebook, and for even communicating the mission trip and youth Bible school and camp.
Would
It's
it-
nice to have.
Would it be possible to discontinue the group and start a page?
I would just start a page.
That's kind of what we're thinking.
Just-
Right now, we have 200, well, right now, we have 200 I think 30 people in our group.
But I think if you would share that page onto the group and get everybody invited and,
Why can't you just change the group to?
because you can't, and you can't change it.
I know, why can't
Once
you?
it's at private, once you change it to private, you cannot change it back.
So I guess keep an eye out, because if we create a new page, then everyone will just have to start following it. You guys can follow it,
Yeah,
and then it'll be open.
and at least if it's that, then we can share it. And then people can go back to that page. Whereas like if you did a screenshot, they wouldn't be directed right back to that page.
You should just create a new page and discontinue the group.
I think that's the plan.
I do too.
And there's a lot of people push that on our
Facebook
not- I mean,
council, it's probably wouldn't be on.
I know, that's why she said it show.
It's fine, it can be done.
And now they Margo.
I just think like if you have a page, then you can have like active links, and if you share it, then people, I mean, it's just very easy.
Yes, what we're doing right now, the group is just not cohesive, that's been on the back burner to get past all this, and, you know.
Free, I have had somebody say to me, they don't do social media,
Sure.
but they're on the internet, maybe our webpage is not up to date, and maybe we need to keep that up as much as the.
Yes, so that's the beauty of getting all these committees in, we can start delegating. We need this committee to either work on this or create a small subcommittee of 2 or 3 people to work on this, you know? That's the benefit of doing that. So I think right now too, that will be part of the council's job is to discuss what specifically do you want these groups and these people working on and get these things delegated out, because before it's just kind of been a small group of people trying to, you know, delegate. Now we would really be able to push a lot of things forward because we have all of you.
And, you know, we could possibly create a monthly newsletter for the people who are not. Because our Savior says that, and it's a mailing, so the older people would appreciate that, I'm sure.
Yes, I think,
There's many
would be
things.
fantastic. I think we can spend some time in fellowship now. And if you do want to mosey, I know a lot of your groups are here. If you want to mosey and just try to figure out a time to meet between now and the 20th at 5:30, that would be fantastic. If you need contact information, I am Amity Reluctant. We can pull up some contact